All right, so it's now almost 9 o'clock. It's 8:59. I've been working on this for about 45 minutes or so, just getting everything out of the bags, getting everything situated on the workbench. So I've got a bunch of little scrap pieces of plastic, slide that off. The way that I typically build and what I like to do, especially when I'm trying to speed build, if you will, I divide things up into categories. So I've got my interior parts over here, my wheels, my engine parts, my small engine parts, like the air filter. This is stuff that goes on the firewall, the battery, the master cylinder, stuff like that. I've got my exhaust. This is going to be stuff that's going to go on the frame. All of my suspension parts are right here. The core support, the hood, I need to take that little piece off of there. These are like the bottom of the firewall, which I've got the firewall back there. So basically this is going to be everything except what I have on the chrome tree. On the chrome tree, I really only plan to use these valve covers, and that's pretty much it on this one. Maybe these wiper blades. I'll have to really look at the instructions to see. I've never built this kit before. I do like these custom bumpers a little better than the stock bumpers. They're a little lower profile and they're smoother. I think they tuck up to the body. So I'm going to use these bumpers. I'm not going to use that grill. I'm definitely not going to use those wheels on this project. And then on the stock chrome tree, I need to take off the dog dish hubcaps. I'm going to use the supercharger, although I'm going to not leave it chrome. I actually need to get that off of there and then throw it into the paint stripper tonight so that it will get all the chrome off and I can mess with that tomorrow. The mirrors, I'm going to use the stock mirror, the stock rear view mirror. These are the headlight buckets. The rest of the stuff I'll wind up using and I'll leaving it chrome. I'm not going to use those bumpers. I am going to use the stock grill. I do prefer it over the custom grill. I think it just looks a little cooler, gives it a more of a sleeper effect. So you'll see in the time lapse that I'll post up, how I went through and did all this. And then while I was dividing it up, the parts that I don't plan upon using that I could probably throw into the parts box, I put into the lid over there. I've got my trees that are going to get thrown away. And then I got the rest of my parts here on the workbench. So I'm also going to take time to separate the tires off and get them kind of prepped up and then work on the rest of this from there. What I'll do is I'll start prepping these parts with a sanding stick so that I can get the mold lines off and the little tabs off. And I prefer to use like this style stick, and I use a 320 grit whenever I'm removing the mold lines and things like that. So that's what I'm going to get working on. I'll probably wind up using every bit of the sanding stick on all of these parts. I didn't realize how detailed this thing was. It's got a ton of parts. And yeah, I'm going to get through this and then get it divided up into my areas. And then from there, I'll get it put on paint sticks and take it over to the booth. So it's now 11:09 and I've got a lot done. I've got all these parts over here ready for paint. I just need to sand the sides of the seats, just to make sure the parts where they come together are good. You saw me kind of fight with these bumper brackets a little bit. I think they're labeled wrong in the instructions. Maybe I put them on wrong. I'm not really sure, but I had to take them off, switch sides on the front and the rear bumper brackets. I've got all of my parts here for the engine. They're all ready to go. I've got the air cleaner assembly. That's all good. I need to sand the seam on the engine before I paint it. And then, of course, finish putting the cylinder heads, the valley cover, and then the oil pan on, and the timing chain cover. So all that stuff will go on. I still need to prep all of the small parts for the engine, the hood, these inserts for the firewall, the tail lights, and the headlights. These are going upstairs to go into the stripper, and they should be good to go tomorrow. I still need to prep my exhaust, my drive shaft, and my shocks, and then the body and the frame, or not the frame, but like the bottom of the body. So I'm, basically about 2 hours in. I stopped for dinner for a little bit there, so roughly I've got about 2 hours into it so far. And I've probably got, I'm going to say, another hour and a half to 2 hours before I'm ready to start painting everything. But I'm going to go ahead and stop for the night. I'm getting tired. I've had a long day. I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'll pick this back up on Saturday morning on the 20th. Yep. And we'll go from there. So hang in and we'll be right back. I slept really hard last night, and I must have just been wore out, but it's 9:32 on Saturday. I'm going to jump back onto this and continue to prep my parts and get ready to paint stuff as much as I can. I think I've got the chassis just about ready to paint, the wheels, some of the interior parts. I still need to sand the things that I just talked about, and then I'll continue to prep the rest of the small parts over here, like the exhaust and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to jump off. I'm only gonna be able to work on this for a couple hours at a time today. It's Saturday. We got a lot of stuff going on. There's a car show nearby that I want to make. I need to pick up a utility trailer so I can get my lawnmower around. It's a really, really busy weekend, and I'm glad that this is 48 hours now, because in the wintertime there's not really much going on, but in the summertime, man, it's super busy, always something going on. So the 48 hours does allow some extra time in there to finish this. Looking at this kit and the amount of parts that it has, I don't know that I would even be able to tackle it in 24. So for next year's 24-hour build, the 57 Ford, I mean, unless you're familiar with the kit, you may want to look at something else with a few less parts. But for now, I'm going to jump back in here, start prepping stuff, and see what I can get done. So it's now 10:09. I've got everything ready to go except for the engine block. I still need to sand it. And then I'll start my paint prep for the body and the hood and the underside of the body. On the body, I still need to attach my headlight and taillight bezels, so I'll get to that in a few minutes too. I'm actually going to take a break now. I've got to go run and take care of some errands, do some stuff, and then I'll come back a little later tonight once I'm ready to sit back down and start the painting process on some of this stuff. Pretty much everything here is ready for paint. I still need to figure out what paint pattern I'm going to go with on the interior. I know there's some lines and stuff in the seats you can see, and I'm not sure what gets painted what. I'm going to do the interior green and white, very similar to the body. And I know for sure I want the roof and the bottom side of the body to be this green color, and then I want like the middle section of the roof around the windows to be white. So I've got to get it ready for paint, but basically, this section here will be white, this will be green, the roof will be green. So that means the hood will be pretty much white by itself too, because that's where the dividing line will be. But the interior is the part that I really need to do a little bit of research on to find out, what does this part get painted green? Does this part get painted green? Does this get white? I just want to be somewhat accurate with the interior. I know I've got to do like some accent colors on the inside of these door panels and trim panels. And again, I just need to do the research on that. The wheels are going to get painted that green, so they'll be the body color, and I can do a little bit of shadowing on those, and they'll look really good. I don't know if I have time to use the white wall decals. I really want white walls on this, but it's all going to depend upon how much time I have, and I still need to get the tires off and prep them. So for now, I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back. And I'm back. Went to the car show, got my hair cut, ran some errands, good to go. I'm going to start putting stuff on the paint sticks and getting the things that are ready to paint to the booth. It is now 2:03. So I'm really only about, 3 hours into the build maybe, given all the breaks and stuff I've taken. So I still need to run that stuff upstairs and put it in the stripper, which I forgot to do while I was gone, which would have been really convenient, but we'll move on from that. All right, on to the time lapse. I'm going to get to painting. All right. It's now 6:03. Man, I've got a lot done, and I've still got a long way to go. Those door panels and the trim panels, they took forever, but wow, they turned out really good. The bare metal on that looks really good. I'm very happy with that. That interior with a lot of extra time could be something really awesome. I'm going through it as fast as I can, but there's a lot of detail in there. A lot of weathering can be done and some shading and stuff, and that would really turn out amazing. I've still got a lot of work left to do on the dash. You saw me cut out the decal, so I've got to put that in there for the cluster. Doing the two-tone on the dash, that was really tough, trying to make that strip of white in there with the aqua. I've got the motor all painted, so I'm going to let that cure for a while before I start messing with it. I still need to paint the transmission. Wheels are all done except for the decals, the white walls, and then the hubcaps. I still need to put those on. I went ahead and built the chassis except for the drive shaft, the steering box, and of course the engine's not on there. That will go onto the bottom of the interior tub, which again, that turned out really good. I'm happy with that. There's this cover goes over the back, so you don't even see any of this. But I went ahead and taped all that off as you saw in the time lapse. So yeah, I've still got a long way to go. I still need to two-tone my seats, and then I'm so scared to mess with this. I just opened a brand new can of white primer, so I'm going to take this over to the booth and prime it and pray that I don't have any issues, especially because I probably should have got 2 cans of the green. I only got 1 can. So I'm going to dive into this after I take a break for dinner, and I'll come back later tonight. Well, it's 11:30 now. It's 11:32. I am beat. This turned out awesome. I'm not done yet. I still need to do the bare metal foil on the trim that breaks up the two-tone. And really the only mistake I made is back here where that taillight bezel meets the quarter panel. I didn't get a very crisp tape line, but I'm not going to sweat it. Overall, this thing turned out awesome. I love this color. This is Tamiya Racing White over or under Tamiya Green Pearl. And this thing just looks awesome. And I haven't even clear coated it yet. That's just the base color. So that's going to turn out pretty cool. I've got the interior back there drying. I did the two-tone seats, and they're pretty decent. I'm going to go back and touch up a couple of spots on them before I'm really done, and before I get everything done. Like, I need to put just a touch of green back there in that little corner. And then I need to put the dash in. Before I put the dash in, I got to do the decal still. I got my steering column and the steering wheel done. Engine is all painted, so now I got to do is put it all together, minus the oil filter, the carb, and the line, and the air cleaner assembly. So in one of the time lapses, you saw me looking through pictures. This stuff called out in the instruction manual to be painted gloss or semi-gloss black. Well, in reality, that part and that part are, I would assume, sheet metal or aluminum on the real car. So those are not correct, called out in the color guide. And then I still need to paint the carburetor gold. I've got to do some small stuff. Exhaust is painted, chassis is pretty much done, drive shaft's done. So all the big stuff is pretty much done, just some small minor touch-up painting. And I still need to do my decals on the wheels. I've probably got another at least 3 or 4 hours of solid work left before I'm done. I'm going to try to get up early and knock as much of this out as I can, because I have to leave here around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm betting I'm not going to be back until 6 or 6:30, which only leaves me like an hour and a half to finish it up. I'm going to say it's not looking real good. There's just so much going on this weekend. So I'm going to push tomorrow morning and see what I can get done, and I'll come back at that time. All right, it's Sunday morning. I'm running a little behind. I had a lot going on today. I had to run to the store, going to get some other stuff later today. I'm not going to have a lot of time to finish this like I thought I would. I woke up late. Long story. Anyway, 10:46. I got to leave here at 12, so I got an hour and 14 minutes to go after this thing as much as I can. I don't know that I'm going to get this done. I don't think I'm going to be home until like 6 or 7 tonight. So it's only going to leave me an hour after I get home, maybe an hour and a half to 2 tops to finish this. I'm going to stop recording and get to work. My shoulders are so tense from doing all that bare metal foil and those decals on the side of this body. I mean, that That was intense trying to get that spear over here on the driver or the passenger side fender between the upper and the lower trim. That thing slid back about a quarter of an inch, and I thought I was going to rip it trying to get it to go back forward. So that's why I had to fight with it so much. I still need to do bare metal around the windshield and the rear window, but unfortunately, it's like 12:05, 12:04. I got to break off and go take care of some other stuff. And yeah, that's going to leave me roughly an hour to maybe two tonight to get this thing done. If anything has taught me, this bare metal foil took me, an hour and 15 minutes to do the sides. Around the windows should go a little faster because it's not as tedious, but it's still going to be a little bit of time. I want to do the bare metal foil before I clear coat, and then I've got a few decals that I need to slap on before I clear coat as well. Then while that clear is setting up, and I'm not going to touch that body again until reassembly or the final assembly, I can start knocking out my engine, some of the smaller pieces. I still need to grab the parts out of the paint stripper upstairs so I can paint them also. And then, I still need to decal my tires. This is intense. Had I had more time to apply to this, I think I would be almost to the point of completion. I'm still quite a ways away. I don't know that I'm going to make it. I really hope I do. I've got till 8 o'clock tonight. Hopefully I can get back here in a couple hours. If you want to see what I'm dragging home and what I'm breaking away from this to do, check out the other channel, Gloved Up Garage, and I'll show you what I'm working on there and what I'm going to get, and that car will be on this channel also. So I'm going to take a break. I'll be back tonight once I'm done. Well, that didn't go to plan. It's 7:03. I've got 57 minutes to wrap this up. I'm going to crank on this and see what I can get done. So sit back and let's see what happens. Well, as I was touching up the quarter panel over here and the other quarter panel, a little bit of white paint dropped up here on the roof somehow, some way from the toothpick. I went to wipe it off, and it looks like the white has eaten through the green all the way down to the white paint that's underneath of it, or the primer. I don't know. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to carefully tape off this roof and sand that blemish out, and then put another coat of green. I don't think I got enough green to do that, and well, I don't have enough time to do it. So unfortunately, and this is no fault but my own, I'm not going to be able to finish in the 48 hours. So these things happen. I knew it was going to be tough, especially with this kit being two-toned, the amount of bare metal foil that I needed to do, the amount of detail that this thing has. It was going to be real tough, and I just didn't make it there. I didn't have enough time because I had too many other things going on. With a 24-hour build, I might be able to get this done in 24 hours if I only did it as a single color. A kit like this is really hard to do because of all the chrome and the detail and stuff in 48 hours, but in 24, you'd be stretching it. If you only did one color and you're real careful, or you decided not to do bare metal foil, you know, you could go through and just sand off all this trim and make it like a base model Fairlane wagon, which I might do that on the next one. I might not do the trim. I might just do the trim around the windows. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. So, yeah, I mean, these things happen. It's really, really close. I've got a few more hours into this and I'll be done. But, you know, going to get a real car took a good chunk of my day, and I knew that there was a possibility. And unfortunately, that just happens sometimes. So, 741, I'm going to call it. I didn't finish. It is what it is. Hopefully the other guys finished their cars. I saw some builds that were done. Congrats to you guys. I'm glad that you all could dedicate the time and get those kits done. I just couldn't do it this time. So remember to hit the like button if you like what you saw here. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about these scale model videos, if this is something you're into or not. Definitely check out my other channel, Gloved Up Garage, so you can see the real cars that I'm working on. And remember to stay gloved up.